Like, know that whatever journey you're on, no matter how motivated you are to do it, 75% of the time, there's gonna be that 25% that feels horrible. And so it's really important to set that slump checklist. Set those things that you know you can cross off and do on the days that feel quite difficult and quite slumpy. It's just about lowering the bar. Sometimes it's really just about lowering the bar and not expecting perfection out of yourself 24/7, because perfection literally doesn't exist. Showing up 10% for 7 days in a row is better than showing up 0%. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the January slump, which is very much real and happening, at least for me and like for my mom and my dad right now. And it's so interesting because I feel like January is the time for resolutions and the time for motivation and the time to where everyone just like wants to become the best versions of themselves. And I'm not saying I don't. What I'm saying is that right now I am feeling very slumpish. I'm feeling like Milo, if you can see my dog right here. And anytime I think back to previous Januaries or previous years in the past, last year I was living in Boston, and January, February, March in Boston, April even, is so horrible. The worst months of the entire year. There's nothing to look forward to. It's dark and gloomy and cold. And right now in Denver, it's not dark and gloomy, but it is chilly, and it's supposed to get really cold the next few days. January, no matter where you're at, unless you're, living in Australia and in the summer, I feel like there's an ounce of seasonal depression that comes in if you can't spend time outside. That is what I'm experiencing right now. And the slump for me is energy wise. Like, I literally just drank 2 energy fizzes because I'm just so tired. I'm so tired. I wasn't even motivated to film this video about the slump. That's how slumpish I'm feeling. And I also just feel like I've been in a little bit of a creative slump coming out of self-helpness, which I literally thought there was going to be so much momentum coming out of that series because I was so excited and loved it and felt so strongly about it. And now I'm just like, oh my god, I can't even come up with video ideas anymore. What's happening to me? So I want to talk a little bit about this slump because maybe you are out there feeling the same way. And sometimes it's exhausting to see all of the productivity content. I'm doing XYZ or I'm doing 75 day hard. In reality, January is so slumpish. It's so slump-esque. So I want to share a little bit about things that you can do while you're in the slump, because the slump is a phase. It is temporary. It is not forever, and it will pass. It takes a little bit of time. So I want to share a couple things that help me and help my mindset get through the tough, challenging times. I feel like the biggest thing for me right now, and the biggest thing I'm struggling with, is being in a creative slump. Coming out of self-helpness, like I said, I was so excited. I had so many ideas. Everything was coming to me. I felt like I was just able to make videos about like everything that came to my head. And right now I just don't have energy. I don't have energy. I don't have motivation. I don't really have the drive to do anything. And I'm like, what's happening? This is not, I don't like this feeling. I really don't like this feeling. But I don't know. I think the creativity slump, the energy slump, it's all just aligned with the dark, gloomy days of January. And I know that I felt this way in my corporate job as well. I just had no energy to do anything. And what I also was experiencing earlier this week was a little bit of a personal growth slump. I try to do 30 minutes to an hour of personal growth every single day, 30 minutes being the bare minimum. And so I felt like listening to podcasts was something that I was not excited about and not wanting to do, and I do that every day. So I was kind of like, whoa, what's happening right now? This is weird. What I have sort of started to do in my head is create what I call the bare minimum bar. And the bare minimum bar is basically a list of tasks, a list of things that you will do every single day when you are in a slump and when you are in a period of not feeling your best. What this says is it allows you to still make progress, still take imperfect action, even when you're not feeling 100%. Because even on the days where you feel honestly like shit, are the days where you still need to show up for yourself to get yourself out of that mood. Action creates energy. When you take the most simple of action, and it could be within anything, it starts to build that energy and build the momentum to continue. I have what I call a slump checklist. So basically it's all the things that I typically need to do in order to keep building momentum and be successful. But a watered down version of that. The most essential things, they do not have to be crazy good, crazy perfect. It's just, okay, am I being consistent today? In my last video that I posted on Wednesday, I talked about my 3 wellness wins. And on the days that I feel quite honestly pretty terrible, I noted that there are 3 things that I like to do that help me in different areas to make me feel a little bit better. The first one being a physical win. So moving my body in some way, either it's going to Pilates or going for a walk. On the days where it's bare minimum, it could just be taking my dogs for a walk outside. The second thing is mental win. So for me, that's like reading a book before bed. If I have no energy to listen to a podcast while I work out that day, or even if I have no energy to work out, I'm reading a book before bed. 30 minutes of a book, 30 pages, whatever that looks like. So those are 2 like really easy things right there to check those boxes. I feel like for me, mental and spiritual kind of go together. And then the third thing that I will do is I have a checklist of all business things. For me, that's like videos that I need to do, reach out, all of those things, and just doing like the bare bones, so that even on the days where I don't feel good, I can be like, okay, at least I'm taking imperfect action to get to the next stepping stone. And usually what taking the small, most bare minimum bones of action will do is create energy to get you to the next thing. And sometimes it's all about just taking that first step. And when you take that first step, you'll notice that you start to have the energy to like keep going and keep pushing yourself, if that makes sense. I was listening to this podcast earlier and I created a little notes app in my phone to write down some good quotes from podcasts that like when I'm not feeling good, I can reference back to. And this one was from the Higher Up podcast. He talked about how time is the great equalizer, which is a quote I've never heard. Basically that time is going to pass anyway. Like no matter what you're feeling today, time is still going to pass. And so like what that solidified for me in my head is like, even if I don't feel good today, I need to still show up, because a year from now, 6 months from now, I'm going to look back, and if I didn't show up on all the days I wasn't feeling good, I probably have 0 results. I would have created 0 momentum to get to where I wanted to go. And if the days are going to pass, at least you're doing something to get you in the direction that you want to be headed. So that's why it's so important to have that slump checklist, have that list of things that you know are still getting you on the right trajectory, pushing you in the direction that you want to go, even when you feel terrible. So it's not about feeling 100%. It's not about even doing 100%. Sometimes you're going to feel like 0%, but you're going to need to do 10%. 10% still matters. You can still check off the box that you were consistent, and that over time is going to make a huge impact versus not showing up whatsoever. The second thing that I have with this as well is that basically he said if you can claw and scratch and fight through whatever you're going through, if it's a slump, if it's something even deeper than a slump, you will get to the life and the thing that you have always wanted. It's just a matter of patience and consistency and continuing to show up. He also said it's uncomfortable now, but it will feel like bliss later. Which I was like, wow, that's really true. That's exactly what I'm experiencing in many facets of my life. And he usually talks about fitness a lot of the time, but I feel like this is so applicable to business, to any sort of goal that you want to achieve. And then the last thing is that just accepting that if you're in a slump or if something feels really hard, this is what hard feels like. I feel like with society, we always have a need to feel good all the time. Everything that you see is somebody feeling good, somebody being positive, and yes, great, amazing, but at the end of the day, life is not always positive, sunshine, rainbows. Sometimes some days are harder than others, and that is literally okay, and all that you need to do that day is just get through the day and do the bare minimum and check off the things on your slump checklist. What I really started to tap into is this is what hard feels like, and that's okay. Normalize shit being hard. Embrace the suck. Embrace the hard. And the way to do that, I think, and the way to just continue is know that whatever you're chasing, know whatever you're doing, if it's a fitness journey, if it's a business journey, if it's maybe you are doing 75-day hard and you have to read a book every single day and you hate reading. Maybe it's just like, okay, today I'm going to read bare minimum 10 pages. Like know that whatever journey you're on, no matter how motivated you are to do it, 75% of the time, there's going to be that 25% that feels horrible. And so it's really important to set that slump checklist. Set those things that you know you can cross off and do on the days that feel quite difficult and quite slumpy. It's just about lowering the bar. Sometimes it's really just about lowering the bar and not expecting perfection out of yourself 24/7, because perfection literally doesn't exist. Showing up 10% for 7 days in a row is better than showing up 0%. The slump checklist is the first thing that I would do to set yourself up for success on the days that feel really difficult and really hard. And then on the days that you feel great and 100%, shoot for more. Shoot for more, because you know that on the days that you don't feel good, you're probably going to be doing less, and that's also okay. The second thing is just about reframing the slump. And again, I feel like in society, there is this need to feel great, to feel positive, to feel energetic and motivated and all the things all the time. And in reality, obviously, that's just not true. That's not the case. The first thing about being in a slump is you have to acknowledge that you're in a slump, which I think for most of us is pretty easy. I think the hard part, recognizing that you're in it and then taking action while you are in it. So that might be different action. That hopefully is imperfect action, but it still needs to be action. And then it also is a sign, being in a slump is usually a sign that something might need to change. And for me, when I am creatively in a rut, I know that I need to go do something else. I need to get outside. I need to go on a hike. I need to go on a walk. I need to be doing something different to give me a different perspective. Maybe if you're in a job right now and you're just like, I'm sitting at home 24/7, staring at my laptop, staring at the same four walls. This is exhausting. I don't know what else to do. Pick up your computer, if you're able, and go do work at a coffee shop. Pick up your computer, go to a different room. Sometimes it's really just about a very little change of scenery. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be moving. It doesn't have to be all of the things. It can literally just be picking up where you're at and going on a walk, getting some new scenery, getting a new perspective, maybe reading a book. Being in a slump is oftentimes just a sign that we need to change up our routine a little bit, get a little bit of a different perspective or a different scenery. The next thing is control what you can control. When you are in a slump, and maybe it's because seasonal depression is hitting and you are in a very, very dark and gloomy winter at the time, which I understand because I've been there. That, for me, would put me right in a slump so fast. I am someone who needs sun. I need daylight. I need to be outside. I need to be smelling the fresh air and like touching grass. And if you can't do that right now because you are in the dead of winter, that is not something that you are going to be able to control. But what you can control is still being able to get up, go outside, even if it's freaking freezing, layering up and going for a walk. And usually being outside, no matter what the temperature is, no matter what the weather is, still getting outside, still being active, still exploring, still shaking up your routine, all of those things are something that's within your control. So focus on those instead of focusing on the weather and other things like that you cannot control. And then the last thing is just recognizing that slumps are just temporary phases. You are not probably going to feel this way forever. You're not going to be in the seasonal depression era forever. This will pass. This too shall pass. So being able to get through it with a little bit of grace and some sort of action items that will still keep you on the trajectory and allow you to progress even when you're not feeling your best, I feel like is so key no matter what journey you're on. A reminder that your slump is just a little stepping stone that everybody goes through to ultimately get to where you need to go. And even when you are where you want to go, there will still be slumps and there will still be phases. So keep that in mind as well. And then embrace a slump. Focus on prioritizing and doing things that are going to make you feel good, like lighting a candle at night, enjoying some alone time, reading a book, prioritizing self-care a little bit more, all of those things. Slumps will happen. It's normal. It will pass. Expect the harder days and set yourself up for success when they do come. That's really all I have for you today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you're experiencing a slump in the comments so I know that it's not just me. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel to be a part of all the self-help personal growth content we have coming for the rest of 2025. And if you haven't already, make sure you go check out Wednesday's video all about my 3 wellness wins that you can do every single day to get you from feeling low to feeling glow, which will help when you are in a slump. So I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending time with me, and I will see you in Monday's video.